I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Megan, will you call the roll?
Yes, Trustee Lautner?
Here.
Trustee Zara?
Here.
Trustee Seidel? Here. Trustee Council is absent. Trustee Sheehan is absent. Trustee Stewart?
Here.
President DeCipio?
Here.
A quorum is present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, first up on our agenda tonight is a presentation to our garden club. I think everyone knows we have a garden club, right? How many knew we had a garden club? How many didn't know? Thank you. So we used to have a row show too, remember? So the Garden Club, recognizing the 90th anniversary of the Garden Club of LaGrange Park. Whereas the Garden Club of LaGrange Park was established in March 1931 during the height of the Great Depression. Whereas they celebrated their 90th anniversary in 2021 amidst the global pandemic, and we continue to be inspired by the resilience and adaptability of their organization. Whereas the Garden Club has a rich tradition in the village of LaGrange Park, with the first meeting taking place in the home of Mrs. W.B. Ricks on North Spring Avenue. Whereas the Garden Club is open to all people who have a common interest in beautifying their surroundings, sharing information, and making new friends. Whereas members of the Garden Club promote environmental stewardship and are mindful to act in ways that are respectful and responsible to the environment. Whereas the Garden Club meets regularly for fun hands-on sessions, field trips, demonstrations, bird watching, and discussions related to their passion. Whereas members impart their knowledge, exchange ideas, share laughs, food, and friendship while making a positive mark on the community. Therefore, be it proclaimed, the Village of LaGrange Park, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the residents of the Village of LaGrange Park, do hereby issue this proclamation honoring and congratulating the Garden Club of LaGrange Park on reaching this momentous milestone anniversary and wish them continued success in all that they do. We have with us tonight members of the Garden Club. We have the current president, Gail Nemesek, two longstanding members, Marilyn Pulaski and Marge King. Marge became a member in 1989 and Marilyn in 1977. We have Dawn with us, who's in the Garden Club, so welcome. So some fun facts. When the Garden Club became the Garden Club, the village population was 2,939 people. I think half of them were in the Garden Club, right? Open fields and farm lots dotted the village, and the dues for the meeting was 5 cents per meeting. So for 90 years of establishment in our community, I want to thank you on behalf of the board and the staff for all that you do for our community and continue to do. We are here to help support you, and anything that we can do, we will do. So with that, I'd like to ask maybe the president to come up, please. No, Gail, that's okay. No. So we have a proclamation for each one of you. So I will give this one to Gail.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Here
you.
you go.
So, on behalf of the Garden Club of LaGrange Park, we'd like to present this commemorative plate, and we hope that the LaGrange Park Village can display it.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful.
And that was made by Marge and Marcia.
You guys made this.
Members of our
Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you so much, you guys. Julia? Julia, want to give these to them too? Yeah, let's go through the three of them. The three of them get them. Okay, next up on our agenda is the swearing in of paid on-call firefighters Lou Galvis and Colin McManus. I'd like to ask Chief to do the honors.
Good evening, and thank you. Tonight, the following paid-on-call firefighters have successfully completed their probationary period and requirements this past January. Each of them has completed the Basic Operations Fire Academy, becoming state-certified firefighters, and also completed emergency medical services training and are licensed EMTBs. They've also been tested on the general knowledge of policies, standard operating guidelines, apparatus, and equipment, and have passed the practical driving and pumping test of our fire apparatus. Lou Galvez completed his probationary period on January 7th and lives with his family in the 1500 block of Raymond. I got that correct, right? I think still. And Colin McManus completed his probation on January 22nd and lives with his family in the 1200 block of Newbury. Oh, is he? Oh. I never heard back after we talked about uniforms. Sorry to hear that. I didn't realize that. In any event, both of these gentlemen have completed the basic requirements to be firefighters in our village. And as I've said many other times, to be a paid-on-call firefighter in a community takes a lot of work. It takes an extreme amount of dedication and long-term commitment if you're going to stick around. There's a lot of challenges that come in life as you grow. Some people buy a home, some people get married, some people have children, and all of those kind of take away from the time and commitment you try to make to our village. But a lot of them stick with it and dedicate their lives to us. Most of our paid-on-call firefighters have other jobs or are students, so there are always competing interests. So their work for us and their commitment to the community is very well appreciated. So just wanted to make that comment. I like to do that to remind everybody of the commitment some of our personnel make. Those who go through probationary training in a probationary period have an excessive commitment trying to complete their basic fire academy, and also those who have to go through EMT school. So it takes a lot of hours in their first year or two of employment, and we obviously want them to keep that up. So if we can go ahead, the first thing we're going to do is we have a couple things. We actually have a pinning ceremony, but we're going to start with the swearing in. So if I can have Lou and Colin come up. And actually, if you want to bring someone from your family that you would like to bring up here. If you don't mind, I'll take Lou and Colin over here because we'll start with the swearing in. And our clerk is going to go ahead and do that.
Thanks. All right, guys, if you can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and then state your name. Hereby do solemnly swear that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and I will faithfully carry out all the duties imposed upon and entrusted in me as a firefighter of the Village of LaGrange Park, Cook County, Illinois. Congratulations.
Okay, as part of this, we also have a bonus tonight. We have firefighter Matt Holmes, who has completed his probationary requirements back in 2020. But unfortunately, due to the pandemic and some scheduling issues over the last year, was only sworn in virtually in November that year and never afforded the recognition of a traditional pinning ceremony. So as such, he will join the firefighters Galvez and McManus in being pinned this evening. Matt lives with his family in the 1400 block of Maple. So if you want to come on up. And a little banter before that kind of threw me with Colin. I still didn't even see Colin sitting there. Colin's father is a firefighter in 2 other communities, actually. But unfortunately, he couldn't be here. He's working shift in one of the communities. So I got all confused. But thank you. So anyhow, the next thing is a traditional pinning ceremony where we like to, the firefighters who have been sworn in or passed their probationary period, actually get their badges, their official badge, put on them. So the first thing I would like to do is we'll start with Lou, if you want to introduce who from your family is in the audience and who's going to do your pinning.
My father, the left hand corner, is my mother.
Pass it down to Colin if you want to.
My mom's pinning me right here. Then my papa, sister, and grandma.
This is my daughter Louisa, my son Huey, and Hugh's going to do the pinning, hopefully.
We'll get him through it. All right, you want to hold on to that? Okay. So hang on, we'll do one at a time if you don't mind. So you want to start, Mr. Galvis? Yes. Get all the way here. Right there. Yep. Sometimes the parents want to pat it on, give them some good luck. No, just kidding. Great. Congratulations. Go ahead. All right, here we go. You'll be fine. You'll do good.
Okay, that's
Take your time. Unfortunately, Matt's wife had to work tonight, but he's in good hands here. All right. Again, we congratulate all of them. We wish them luck in their career with us. We hope it's long and healthful, and especially if they go on to other places, for those who haven't, to maybe become career firefighters or in other fields. We look forward to their service here. And again, thank you to the families who come out and also support them in this.
Okay, congratulations, young men. It's always a privilege for the board and staff to be a part of this ceremony. I'm always amazed at the support that these gentlemen get, ladies get from their families, and they have mom and dads here and grandma and grandpas here. We're as proud as you guys are. They're wonderful people, and thank you for stepping forward and protecting us as a village. So good luck, and thank you for all your efforts here. Next up, public participation of agenda-related items only. Would anyone care to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Megan?
Thank you, Mr. President. The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes. 1, Village Board meeting, February 22nd, 2022. 2, Village Board work session, March 8th, 2022. 3, closed session, March 8th, 2022. B, action, amendment to the LaGrange Park Municipal Code rainfall data. Motion to approve an ordinance amending Chapter 154 of Title 15 of the LaGrange Park Municipal Code to update the rainfall data from Bulletin 70 to Bulletin 75. C, action, accounts payable and payroll summary. Motion 1, to authorize the president and chairperson of the Finance Committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. And motion 2, to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and the next village board meeting, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its next meeting.
Motion to approve consent agenda is presented.
So moved.
Motion is second. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, moving on, village manager's report. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. I have just one item to report on this evening. It is Tuesday, and staff has already spent quite a bit of time providing communications and notifications regarding an event that will be taking place this week. We have a gas giveaway that will be taking place on Thursday, March 24th at 7 a.m. at the mobile gas station located at 31st Street and LaGrange Road. The village, contrary to some of the conversation that we've had with folks, the village was not a host or sponsor of the event. In fact, we found out about it much in the same way that the community found out about it, which was through the news. We do anticipate that the event will last approximately 3 hours. Information about road closures has been sent out in e-briefs and is available on our website from the home page at www.lagrangepark.org. So it's important. One thing I wanted to communicate is that the website, that home page, is really the go-to for information about this event, which will cause significant inconveniences and delays on 31st Street. So insofar that any information changes, that is the place to go for your updates. So we just want to make sure that folks know about that. We notified the school district and neighboring businesses. We have been, the police department and Chief Contois has been working with the school districts as it relates to bus routes and bus stops to make sure that everything is remaining the same and making sure that all of the traffic circulation and traffic is going to go as well as can be expected on Thursday morning. And as it relates to this event, it's just important that we understand that our priority is public safety. We encourage residents to check out the website, and again, you can access information about the gas giveaway from the home page of the village's website. And unless if there's any questions about this event, that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Julia. Okay, moving on, Administration Committee, Trustee Seidel.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item is Community Volunteer Day. The village's annual Community Volunteer Day will take place on Saturday, May 14th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Volunteers will provide assistance to older adults in the community who need help with basic lawn care and spring cleaning. This day of service is a great opportunity for individuals, families, and organizations to support their neighbors and make a positive mark on the community. Visit the village's website to register for the event or to request volunteer assistance. Contact Maggie Jar, Assistant Village Manager, for more information. Community wellness programs. This spring, the Village of LaGrange Park and NAMI Metro Suburban are co-hosting a series of free community programs focused on mental health and wellness. The next event, titled Stress Less, will take place on Monday, April 18th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. via Zoom. Session will focus on learning to identify causes of stress and develop stress management techniques, learning how to practice mindfulness, and discussing ways to reduce stress and practice good mental health behaviors. All are welcome to attend, and participation is easy. Visit the village's website for the Zoom meeting link and learn more about the event series. Registration via Eventbrite is encouraged but not required. Community Arbor Day nominations. National Arbor Day is Friday, April 29th. The village is accepting nominations to plant a tree in honor or in memory of a person or group that has made a positive contribution to the community. Trees are planted in public space during a ceremony, and small plaque is installed at the base of the tree. Visit the village's website to download the nomination form and submit your nomination by April 16th. Contact Sandy Backlish, Executive Secretary, for more information. And that concludes the administration report.
Thank you, Trustee Seidel. Okay, moving on, Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Zora.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to report the Building Department activities for February 2022. 30 building permits were issued in February compared to 41 last February. Estimated construction costs for the month were just about $4.5 million, more than 7 times of what it was in February 2021. This is mostly due to 3 larger permits issued. Permit fees collected were just over $68,000 compared to about $13,000 last February. Again, this is related to 3 larger permits issued. 70 inspections were conducted this past February compared to 124 in February 2021. 3 inspections were not approved. The permit was issued for interior renovations for 905 East 31st, which will be occupied by Countryside Animal Hospital, which has purchased the building. Also, the interior remodeling permit was issued for Plymouth Place for initial changes to the lower level related to the East Campus redevelopment. A permit was issued for Bethlehem Woods for the 2nd floor of Beechwood Manor building, where a portion of assisted living is being modified to better accommodate memory care services. After resolving exiting and sprinkler issues, the permit for Alphabet Learning Center was issued, which is located at 404 Sherwood Road in the Village Market. And then I have one item that is for discussion and action, which is one that we see every year. Each year, Jewel Osco erects a seasonal greenhouse in the parking lot at 507 East Woodlawn. Jewel's requesting to install 1,560 square foot, 26 feet by 60 feet greenhouse structure to house decorative plants and vegetable plants. If approved, the structure will be constructed in late March and remain in use through June. The proposed structure is the same size as what has been approved in past years. Temporary use in structures are regulated by section 153.195 of the zoning code, specifically the section 153.195C8 permits tents in commercial districts for up to 14 days, and section 153.195C9 permits temporary retail stands in commercial districts up to 250 square feet. The village board approval is required for Jewel in requesting to install a greenhouse that does not comply with the time frame or size requirements of the code. Staff recommends approval of the temporary use permit for Jewel Osco to allow the installation of a temporary greenhouse structure. I would like to make a motion to approve a temporary use permit for Jewel Osco to allow for the construction of a 1,560 square foot temporary structure for seasonal retail sales to be occupied on or after March 25th, 2022, and to be removed no later than June 25th, 2022.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Trustee Zora?
Thank you. As I previously stated, we go through this every year. I see no reason to not approve it. And that's it.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Any other comments from any board? Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to confirm, it's identical to previous years. Number one, same structure, same size.
Yes, I believe it's the same size. Yeah.
And same size, or second question is any community feedback, any complaints, anything to be aware of? Then support. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Moving on to Engineering Capital Projects Committee, Trustee Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item, on February 28th, the village publicly opened sealed bids for the 2022 village crack ceiling project. 2 firms submitted bids for the project. The low bid was Didner, Inc. They are an IDOT qualified contractor who has met the bidding requirements and performed satisfactory work on projects throughout the area. After project award and contract execution, the contractor will begin work once the weather allows and should complete the project by the end of April. The project involves routing, cleaning and filling transverse and longitudinal cracks in asphalt pavements using rubberized crack sealing material. Second item, on February 28th, the village publicly opened sealed bids for the 21-22 sewer cleaning and televising program. 5 firms submitted bids for the project. The low bidder was Sewer Tech LLC. They are a qualified contractor who has met the bidding requirements and performed satisfactory work on projects throughout the area and in the village. After project award and contract execution, the contractor will begin work and should complete the project by the end of April. This is a yearly maintenance program to keep the sewers functioning at full capacity and also document sections that need repair. Third and final item, on February 28th, the village publicly opened sealed bids for the 21-22 sewer repair program. 8 firms submitted bids for this project. The low bid was Unique Plumbing Company. They are a qualified contractor who has met the bidding requirements and performed satisfactory work on projects throughout the area and in the village. After project award and contract execution, the contractor will begin work once the weather allows and should complete the project by the end of April. The project involves repairs on sewers located throughout the village that are identified by recent televising and cleaning projects. And this concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Seidel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Police Department summary for February 2022. In addition to the attached statistical summaries, the following items are being reported to appraise the Village President and Board of Trustees on current Police Department operations. Total number of crimes reported for the first 2 months of 2022 are significantly lower than the last year, with 57 incidents reported this year compared to 121 in 2021. Reporting of fraudulent unemployment claims related to the pandemic has drastically decreased, causing this significant drop. Traffic enforcement is at 495 total tickets issued through February of 2022. Overall police activity is 29% higher to last year, with 901 total incidents reported in the month of February 2022, compared to 674 total incidents in the months of February 2021. Of those 901 incidents, 63 were assists to the fire department, 379 were self-initiated building or park checks, 41 were traffic stops, and 59 were closed home checks. Department members attended 192.5 hours of training, along with the completion of required monthly online training and Lexipol daily training bulletins. In addition to the above reported training hours, all sworn department members took part in the annual MEG-GITT simulated training held at the Brookfield Zoo. The rear entry exit door to the PD was replaced as the old door frame was rotting out. Chief Contoys had a multitude of conversations with various vendors regarding digital speed signs for LaGrange Road. The chief, deputy chief, and patrol commander attended an 8-hour training course focused on suicide awareness and prevention for law enforcement, hosted by Tim Perry from 1041 Inc. That concludes the police department summary. Oh, I'm sorry, that does not. Mark your calendars for the do not miss out on the upcoming police department special events. Citizens Police Academy is Saturdays, April 2nd to May 7th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the Village Boardroom. Please contact Officer Dempsey at 708-352-7711, extension 275 for further information, or see Dempsey at lagrangepark.org. You may pick up applications at the police department window during normal business hours. Please follow the police department on our Facebook at LaGrange Park Police Department, our Twitter, LaGrange Park PD, and Instagram at LaGrange Park PD. Friendly reminder about securing one personal property at all times. Please lock your vehicles and residents, especially during overnight hours. If you're going on vacation, please utilize the new online vacation watch portal, frontlinepss.com/LaGrange Park, or log into the village website and access the portal under the police department page. If you do not have internet access, feel free to fill out a vacation watch card at PD between the hours of 9 and 4:30. Next, the fire department activities for February 2022. EMS incidents this month is 134. There's been 300 year-to-date compared to 273 year-to-date in 2021. Fire rescue incidents this month is 31. There's been 87 year-to-date compared to 70 year-to-date in 2021. Several personnel attended training inside the Hinsdale Oasis building over I-294. As it's being scheduled for demolition, several departments have been offered the use of this until that time. Based winter storm warnings begin to issue this month. Personnel staff both stations at various times during the month to allow for quick responses and assist with getting patients safely from the house to ambulance. Standby personnel responded to several EMS calls during these time periods. Fire chief participated in the annual Heroes vs. Heroes basketball game, playing against the Park Junior High Mighty Patriots Special Olympics team. We said goodbye to PSI paramedic firefighter Vanessa Kiris, who resigned from the department contract after being hired full-time by the Prospect Heights Fire District. Also, we welcomed new PSI paramedic Jane Falcon to the contract. New Fire Chief Building Director Vehicle Unit 1201 was finally placed in service after delivery delays involving the vehicle and the equipment. Vehicle was ordered in September of 2020. Hazmat personnel attended MABUS 10 team training, which was provided by the U.S. EPA. Fire chief assisted Cub Scout Pack 39 as a judge for the chili cook-off. That's the fire department activities. There is one action item this evening, and that is Emergency Mutual Aid Agreement. General background, LaGrange Park Police Department has been a member of MCAT, of Major Case Assistant Team, since 2015. Throughout its time as being a member, various investigators with the LaGrange Park Police Department have assisted member agencies on a multitude of callouts. In 2021, MCAT was activated for 2 LaGrange Park incidents that brought in multiple investigators that ultimately aided our investigators in the early stages of the investigations. A few weeks ago, Justice Police Department inquired on becoming a member of MCAT. At last week's MCAT Chiefs meeting, the member agency chiefs unanimously approved the addition of Justice Police Department to MCAT. With that being said, a new emergency mutual aid agreement must be approved and accepted by the village board. Staff recommendation is approval of the updated emergency mutual aid agreement for the Major Case Assistance Team at the village board meeting on March 22nd, 2022. Motion action requested is for discussion and action, emergency mutual aid agreement. At this time, I make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing revised emergency mutual aid agreement.
Second.
Discussion? Trustee Seidel?
It makes sense. I mean, it's a good thing that Justice joined, so I am all in favor of this, and it's just updating the agreement, so it's a great collaboration we have.
Thank you, Trustee Seidel. Any other comments? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. And thank you, Trustee Seidel. Okay, moving on, Public Works Committee, Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to the monthly report for Public Works, I also have 2 items for discussion and action. First, the monthly report. Department of Public Works repaired 3 water main breaks and repaired 1 leaking water service line. LaGrange Park's 14-inch transmission water main suffered 5 separate breaks in mid-February. Both the water intake valves had malfunctioned, causing a severe water hammer to be set down to shut down our transmission line, which supplies the village water from the Brookfield North Riverside Water Commission. Our reservoir was able to supply our distribution system with water until all the repairs were completed. Staff was closely monitoring the SCAD, the SCADA system, until the main was able to be put back in service with complete operating pressure. Intake valves have been repaired to put our system back into standard operation. Understand it was quite an event. Much thanks to our Department of Public Works Department for handling that very serious situation. February brought multiple snow and ice events as anticipated. Staff worked quickly and efficiently through each storm, adapting to changing conditions. Nearly 189 tons of salt were used with an applied average rate of 245 pounds per lane mile. And a cumulative total of road miles salted this month was 1,716 miles in our village. Staff is continuing the work associated with Chicago Region Trees Initiative grant. A requirement includes the updating of the village tree ordinance, which is the department's main focus currently. Asphalt work was conducted to repair potholes and patch areas from excavations. This work will continue throughout the year. GIS work has continued collecting data on village-owned assets, along with continued training throughout the village. Water meters were read in Section 2. 15 monthly bacterial samples were taken. Various water and sewer work orders were completed, along with resident tree concerns and general construction inquiries. Routine maintenance to the department fleet and equipment was performed, as well as police and fire vehicles. And on to the items for discussion and action. Bear with me a bit. First is regarding a resolution to 26th Street roadway reclassification. The purpose of this discussion is to approve a resolution to apply to reclassify 26th Street between Kemen Avenue and Maple Avenue as a minor collector route. Background on this is that the motoring public utilizes 26th Street between Kemen and Maple as a bypass into or through the village. Hancock Engineering surveyed the route along 26th Street to collect vehicle counts. The data verified higher traffic usage, which meets the criteria for possible reclassification of this portion of 26th Street as a minor collector route. A successful classification change enables the village to place this roadway in the queue for future federal funding. One caution to the reclassification process could be the current substandard width of the roadway. The village might be required to obtain an easement or lease land adjacent to the roadway from the Cook County Forest Preserve to reconstruct the roadway to current standards. The village engineer recommends that the application be submitted and wait for comments. As part of the application process, a resolution must be passed by the village board and submitted with the application. As a side note, the proposed fiscal year 22-23 MFT budget includes a resurfacing project for this section of the road as the current condition is poor. We are hopeful that the reclassification is approved so that future improvements of this stretch of roadway would be eligible for federal assistance. Staff does recommend approval of this resolution at this evening's March 22nd, 2022 Village Board meeting. This item is for discussion and action. I will make a motion to approve the resolution requesting the designation of 26th Street from Kemen Avenue to Maple Avenue as a minor collector.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think I would like to defer to a little bit additional background information to our Director of Public Works, Director Ratty, if I could ask you to give a little bit more detail on the background of this.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Every once in a while, we go and take a look at some of our roadways to see if we can get some reclassification. And one of the roadways of like this one with 26th Street is you need to be able to connect to some sort of a roadway that would be to two collectors, which we have Maple Avenue and Kemen. So we really looked at this heavily because this roadway is getting to be very well deteriorated, as we could see. You know, it's taken abuse over the years with the county garage. But it's also just a substandard with roadway as well. We had some issues with some sidewalk complaints over the years. But as we were looking at some of the paver data that we were getting, you know, we put this in for the upcoming 2023 budget to get paved. But again, we're just going to be doing a Band-Aid to it. It's just going to provide a stopgap. If we can hopefully get this reclassified and we can get some federal funding, again, we would have to go and get some sort of a land from the county to make it wider, but by doing that, that might even potentially open up by possibly having a bike lane in there or something like that, because we're going to have a little bit wider of a roadway. But again, ultimately, that would be 80-20 federal funding to help in future projects. So again, once we get it classified, Brainerd, north of Harding to 31st is what we're slated for future. Harding from Brainerd all the way to Kemen. Sherwood is reclassified now recently. So these are some roads that we can put in queue and get federal funding for, which would be an 80-20 split. So instead of using all of our MFT funds. Now again, what makes this unique is we did some traffic counts on this roadway as well. And some of the traffic counts on this were just as extremely as high as almost Kemen. That's how many people are utilizing this roadway as a cut through. Whether you're going from Maple to Kemen or Kemen to Maple, this is very heavily traveled and it's very, very wide. The crowns at the intersections, there's some of them that are getting to be very bad where they're becoming like a whoop-de-whoop, you know, for cars. So again, it could definitely use a reconstruct, but you know, temporarily we're going to give it just a quick grind and resurface to give it some time to hopefully get this reclassified. And if we do, maybe in about 10 years, we might be able to get the federal funding, which would be perfect time to do a full reconstruct at that time. So this resolution is just part of the application process. Doesn't guarantee us or lock us into anything. It just starts that ball rolling, you know, with that potential. So that's really all this is this is gauging.
Yeah, if I may just add I think the budget just for resurfacing this year is $350,000, and that's just for a Band-Aid. So you can imagine the total reconstructed, be well over $1 million. And if somehow, we get the reclassification, that's perfect. That's the perfect use of federal funds, is to reconstruct a road like this.
Yeah, one more comment. As you can see on the northern edge of this roadway, you have pavement that just drops off, and that the edge of pavement is actually at the Cook County line. So again, if it's not ours, you got nothing there that's going to support that asphalt from cracking off. And if you actually run that roadway down, you can see how bad, it gets in a lot of different areas. Some area right now it's better view, but you can see that some areas are they just fall off, and there may be a 2-foot ditch, fall off with going into the dirt right there. So if we move it, we would have to put, curb and gutter, potentially some storm sewer in there to help with the collection of the rainwater on the road and make it a little bit more, just a much better roadway for future use.
So just to confirm, there's no monetary request or commitment as part of this motion. It is purely for the reclassification, and even at that point, we would still have the opportunity to decide just what we wanted to proceed with. And then again, it makes us more eligible for federal grants as a result of having that reclassification. Good. I would support this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Any other comments? Trustee Stewart?
Hey, Rick, so the $350,000, that just to kind of resurface, so we said it was 10 years down the line, so that's going to be enough to be able to keep it at a decent shape for the next 10 years? Yeah. Okay. I can hear you.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a long distance for that 350 for a grind and resurface. We're going to do a little bit of spot curb, but not much. But yeah, that should easily last us 10 years.
So is that elevated traffic, or is that just traffic after the monitoring? You're just understanding it is it's like Kim traffic.
Well, we did a study where they put the tubes down and we actually counted the actual traffic counts going over those. Is that what your question was?
Yeah, is that increased, or is that just something that hasn't been monitored?
Well, we did that last year because we were using this for two other grants that we had tried to apply for the last 2 years called Invest in Cook. So we had to do that data for those applications as well. So they were pretty significant.
Yeah, the average annual traffic is 1,800 vehicles per day, and that meets the minimum criteria for a hydrant project.
Wow. Thank you.
Trustee Zora?
I have traveled this road many times, especially when I lived on that side of town, and it definitely needs help. If you're going a little too fast, those areas at the intersection are not smooth. So I'm in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Trustee Seidel?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in favor of this too. I think any possible opportunities for funding we have to look into. So I commend staff on this, and I am in full support.
Thank you. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Continue on. Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. The next item for discussion and action is regarding the engineering agreement for lead service line replacement program. The purpose of this discussion and potential motion is to approve a professional service agreement with Hancock Engineering for services related to the Lead Service Line Replacement Act. Background on this is that on January 1st of 2022, the Lead Service Line Replacement Act became law in Illinois. Under the law, all lead service lines in a municipal water system must be replaced. The village is responsible for meeting several requirements according to timelines prescribed by the Act and based on the number of lead service lines identified. The requirements include creating an inventory. Let me start that again. The requirements include that we create an inventory of lead services and implementing a lead service line replacement plan. At the work session meeting on March 8th, the last meeting, staff and Hancock Engineering went through a very thorough presentation to the village board and a project overview discussion seeking consensus to bring forth a professional services agreement with Hancock Engineering to oversee and manage the lead service line and replacement act process for the village. At that meeting, there was a consensus among the village board to entertain a motion to accept a proposal from Hancock Engineering. Staff recommends that the village board approve the agreement from Hancock Engineering at the village board meeting on March 22nd, 2022. As such, I'll submit a motion to approve a professional engineering services agreement with Hancock Engineering for the lead service line replacement program in a not to exceed amount of $246,330 and authorize the village manager to sign the necessary documents.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. We did go through a very extensive and thorough presentation and discussion at the last meeting, you recall, which I think we all felt was very thorough at addressing the requirements of this law and getting us well in line and on the way with replacing the lead service lines in our village. It's a very complex and extended process as well as project. And I think that the not to exceed provides a fair amount of protection, and I think the not to exceed will be very helpful because I think it's going to be a quite extensive and potentially very expensive project for us. But it's something that we have to do. I think we all agreed that it's critical not only to follow the law but also to provide the water service that we all agree is required for the village. And as such, I would certainly support this proposal and this motion.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Trustee Seidel?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in support of this. I agree with everything Trustee Lautner just said, so I'm in support.
Thank you. Trustee Stewart?
We've talked in great length on March 8th about this, so I'm in support as well.
Great. And Trustee Zora?
I am also in support of this.
Thank you. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Seidel?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Moving on to Finance Committee. Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. Financial report through the month of February 2022 is as follows. Fiscal year to date, general fund revenue is at 86.4% of the annual budget and about $703,000 or 9.8% greater than the prior year. Property tax receipts are up by about $337,000 or 16.1% compared to the prior year. The county waived late fees through May 3rd last year due to the pandemic versus March 1st for late fees this year. Other local taxes are higher by about $41,000 or 4.5% due primarily to an increase in the natural gas tax as prices have increased. The increase in natural gas tax has more than offset the continued decline in telecommunications taxes. Intergovernmental receipts are higher by about $203,000 or 7.5% as compared to last year. Income tax is at 27.4% higher than last year, while sales tax is up by about 37.1%, and use tax is 14.4% lower. The Leveling the Playing Field Act for Illinois Retail Act required out-of-state retailers and marketplace facilitators to collect and remit state and locally imposed sales taxes for the location where the product is delivered starting January of 2021. Combined sales and use tax is up by about 13.3% compared to last fiscal year. License revenue is lower by about $10,600 or 3.6%. Permit receipts are up 51.5% or about $141,000 compared to the prior year. Charges for services are higher by about $28,800 or 4.1%, mainly due to increased ambulance fee receipts. Fines are down by about $30,000 or 21.1%. Total general fund expenditures, excluding the transfer to the capital projects fund, are at 80.9% of the annual budget and about $614,000 or 9.2% higher than last year. The difference primarily is due to personnel expenditures, including police department vacancies in the prior year that have been filled, and the timing of police pension payments, which follows property tax collections. As we near the end of the fiscal year, we're projecting that some departments will exceed their original budgets and require a budget amendment. The fire department budget includes the increase in cost for the contracted paramedics that we all discussed, recently approved by the village board. In the building department, an increase in permit activity has resulted in costs for plan reviews and inspections greater than budgeted. There was also an increase in sidewalk costs in the Public Works Department due to the resident participation program exceeding expectations. The Administration and Finance Department budget is slightly ahead of budget expectations, and that's due to increased costs for legal services, information technology, and zoning reviews. Many of the above costs are offset by additional fees collected by the village, and overall revenues are performing better than anticipated. Therefore, we are projecting the general fund to end the year in a significantly better position than originally budgeted. A budget amendment resolution will be included on the April 12th work session agenda. And that concludes my report from the finance area this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Okay, moving on to other reports, the village clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have a few items to report on. I have a reminder for some key dates in regards to voter registration for the upcoming June 28th, 2022 gubernatorial primary election. The deadline for in-person registration is May 31st. Paper and PDF registrations must be postmarked by May 31st, and June 12th is the deadline for online registration. The Cook County Clerk's Office is actually looking to recruit election judges to staff the polling locations on Election Day in suburban Cook County. There are more than 1,400 precincts that will require staffing with multiple election judges. The Clerk's Office pays election judges $200 and polling place technicians $365 and provide training for both positions. Anyone interested can apply at cookcountyclerk.com/work. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Our village treasurer? Our village engineer?
No report, Mr. President.
Our village attorney?
No report, Mr. President.
And Commercial Revitalization Committee, Trustee Stewart?
Thank you, Mr. President. Village Market Streetscape Improvement Plan. In February, the village board approved the selection of Sam Schwartz for consultant services to develop a streetscape improvement plan for the village market area. This plan will present a vision and recommendations for public improvements that establish a safer, more inviting environment along the Grange Road and throughout Village Market. The consultant team held 2 project initiation meetings this month and began gathering data for existing conditions analysis. A community survey and public kickoff event are being planned for later this spring. For more information regarding this project, including opportunities to participate in community engagement, will be posted on Village's website and shared in e-briefs. Our next Commercial Revitalization Committee meeting will take place on Tuesday, April 12th at 6 p.m. at Village Hall. Businesses and members of the public are invited to attend and provide input on how the village can best support new and existing business and enhance the commercial areas in LaGrange Park. This concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Stewart. I'll take a motion to approve committee and collectors' reports as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I just have a couple of items. Tomorrow is the Illinois Municipal League Lobby Day. Trustee Lautner, Trustee Seidel, myself, and our village manager, Julia, will be heading down to Springfield to meet with our legislators and hopefully get some good comments from them and their support on various projects that we're looking to get financial help from. Also tonight, our Assistant Village Manager, Maggie, and Chief Magus, and myself and Patrick Boyle attended the grand opening of the Villa's Plymouth Place in LaGrange, the central office there, and it was a great reception. They were very grateful that we had great representation from the village. It's going to be a great project, so thank you all for being there. That's all that I have. Now we'll move on to Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one more item. I wanted to update the board on the status of the fiscal year 22-23 preliminary draft budget and 5-year plan. The Finance Committee that's made up of Trustee Seidel and Trustee Stewart and myself met this evening, as well as prior on March 8th to go through clarifications, comments, suggestions for the next year upcoming budget. Just a brief recap of some of the suggestions that we had made. We're going to be enhancing or I should say staff is going to be enhancing the general fund table and chart data to provide a more user-friendly document for village residents to see and use. Made various clarifications in the introductory text of departmental budgets and the capital projects fund project. Under the road bond fund and the fire equipment bond fund, explanations were added, and added additional text to explain in some of the areas where nothing is budgeted. It's because all that money has been spent in those areas, but just to clarify that and to provide additional context of budget notes for the fiscal year 21 and 22 variances that I just made reference to in my report. In the 5-year plan, we'll be adding some additional commentary and information regarding the Village Market Streetscape Improvement Plan, explaining how recommendations resulting from the study, once it is complete, will be programmed into future budgets and the 5-year plan, and provided additional detail into some of the introductory paragraphs of the Section 2 capital expenditures part of the 5-year plan. The next steps will be a public hearing on April 12th at the 7:15, just prior to the regular meeting. That will be put forth by Trustee Stewart, and in the hearing that will be run by you, of course. But the budget and 5-year plan will appear on the work session agenda for discussion. Action is anticipated for the April 26th Village Board, and at that meeting, the Village Board will consider motions to approve the resolution approving the fiscal year 22-23 operating budget and the 5-year fiscal year 22-23 to 26-27 5-year plan. So I wanted to report that update to the rest of the board and to the village, Mr. President. And that does conclude the finance area of the discussion this evening.
Great. Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Julie, before we move on, I'm going to restate the statement that we made earlier, if that's okay. The village is aware of some concerns expressed regarding the gas giveaway, which will take place at the mobile gas station on 31st and LaGrange Road on Thursday, March 24th at 7 a.m. The village first received word about the free gas event on Saturday from an ABC News article, which free gas will be provided at 23 gas stations in Chicago and 22 gas stations in suburban Cook County. To be clear, the village is not a host or sponsor of this event, and we did not solicit this event to take place in our village. Once aware of the giveaway at Mobile, the police department began developing a plan for the safety of drivers and pedestrians in the area. With free gas giveaways taking place in communities all over our country due to the high cost of gasoline, our focus was on safety to ensure that the event takes place in an efficient manner without incident. We anticipate that the event will last approximately 3 hours. Information about the road closures has been sent out in e-briefs and is available on our website from the homepage, www.lagrangepark.org. We sent out the notice to residents to ensure an orderly procession and also so that they were aware of the closures and the disruptions in the morning commute. We notified the school district and neighboring businesses. Our goal is to ensure that cars get in line westbound on 31st Street and then exit northbound on LaGrange Road after receiving gas. As it relates to this event, our again priority is public safety. We encourage residents to check the website for the most up-to-date information. And if you have any questions, call the Village Hall at 708-354-0225, and staff can answer your questions. So that concludes my report. We'll move on to public participation of non-agenda related items only. If anyone would care to address the board, please step up to the mic. And please spell your last name. And you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, my name's Robert Hollab. It's imperative. I live at 1134 Alignment Terrace, and I'm sure Mr. Stewart will definitely go along with this. We need his help. We need a speed bump there. And and I've been acting as a vigilante when I see these guys speeding, and the whole street, you know, they'll sign a petition and everything. They could not, a lot of them couldn't be here. I've got one neighbor here. We get along very well, even though we're opposite on the political spectrum. We help each other out. So I expect a lot of opposition if possible. You know, with the snow plows, I'll go out there and plow around the speed bump. I was in Chicago and I got a 455 SS Camaro. I go 20 miles an hour down side streets. I did that in Chicago. I hit the speed bump and it's, oh my God, you know, this is what we need on Lima Terrace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Jeremy Vitale, 1143 Robin Hood. That's V as in Victor, I-T-E-L-L. So this is in regards to the giveaway for the gas on Thursday. I was made aware of this on a village e-brief email, and that brought up a lot of concerns for me and other residents that are in and live in the Robin Hood estates. I also had contacted village officials and have received some communication. There have been many questions that have been proposed, and we feel that myself and other members of the community who are unable to make it today feel that should have been asked and have not been asked, nor has our village board even transparently informed us of. This gas station, the lot size is so small it cannot accommodate the volume of traffic that will be handled here. The 2 mile plus long lines, as reported by NBC and the Chicago Tribune, as the recent event in Rogers Park that had happened, that resulted in feuding with the police department, road rage, and shutting down of this event. I feel, and other residents have voiced their opinion to me directly, as well as on social media, that this is a public safety concern. It has come to my attention after email exchanges between myself and our village manager, Julia Cedillo. Thank you for emailing over some information that I was unaware of after text communications with some of our board members. Thank you for filling me in on that, which the village here calls this a giveaway. And this giveaway, the village does not require a permit. My question to the village is, why not? Especially when public safety is paramount. Is Mr. Willie Wilson, businessman, perennial candidate, political politician, who's lost every single campaign that he's ever run for, who touts himself as a liberal Democrat, voted for Trump, has started his own political party in 2020 after Trump lost, the Willie Wilson Party.
20 seconds.
And basically, there's so many questions that we all need to ask you guys that more than 20 seconds and more than 3 minutes deserves. This guy is not paying for police. That's on us. The safety, I know you've contacted him, but we can't even get to and from work in the mornings at those 3 hours. And on top of which, and I will finish shortly, I received text message communication directly from our village president, President DeCipio, picking a fight with me. Thank you. And I will read this direct text message as what had transpired real quickly, which was me voicing my concerns, and him in a text message asking, who is this? What's the matter? Afraid to tell me? Figures. Mr. President, with that comment, I feel you are no longer fit to be president. I am requesting your resignation right here, right now.
Thank you, Mr. Vitale. Your time is up. Thank you. Okay, any new business? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.